I'm Kimberly Page. I practice law in the retail and hospitality industry, as well as products liability industry at Jones, Skelton and Hockley in Phoenix, Arizona. We are an insurance defense firm representing insureds, self-insureds, government entities, corporations, and professional liability insureds. I'm here to talk about a new case resolution mechanism that was recently introduced in Arizona called Late Case Fair Limits Proceedings. These were first introduced in Maricopa County as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic as a way to reduce in-person jury trials or, at a minimum, narrow a case to its most essential points. If these proceedings are successful, we anticipate other counties will adopt similar procedures. A late case fair limit proceeding is held by a court-appointed fair limits officer. These fair limits officers are selected from a pool of judges, former judges, and practicing attorneys. These proceedings are for cases that are not subject to mandatory arbitration. The parties give up to 200 pages of material that they deem essential to understanding how to resolve the case to the appointed fair limits officer. The fair limits officer is not allowed to take sides. The goal of the proceeding is simply to force the parties to take a hard look at their case to see how it can be pared down. During the proceeding, the fair limits officer works with the parties to determine whether the case is appropriate for one of three different paths: trial, a trial alternative, or mediation. 1. The trial path. If the parties determine that a case should still go on the trial path, the fair limits officer will work with the parties to come to a fair agreement on narrowing the case. This can include eliminating claims or defenses, waiving a jury trial and proceeding with a bench trial, proceeding with a bench trial in front of a different judge, limiting the number of witnesses and length of examination time, limiting the trial to a specified number of days or hours, high-low agreements, written openings and closings, and testimony by deposition transcript. 2. The trial alternatives path. If the parties agree to the trial alternatives path, the fair limits officer will work with the parties to agree on options like submitting a paper trial, trying the case to one or three neutral arbiters from the pool of fair limits officers, or a bench trial with an advisory jury for findings of fact from the pool of fair limits officers. 3. The mediation path. Finally, if the parties agree on the mediation or settlement path, the fair limits officer will work with the parties to participate in a virtual settlement conference, or a binding or non-binding private mediation, or a binding or non-binding mediation with a fair limits officer. After the proceeding, the fair limits officer files a report with the court summarizing the hearing. The court then uses these findings to determine the most appropriate action. So, if you're staying in downtown Phoenix for a business trip or a family vacation to Arizona, be sure to check out the downtown Phoenix Farmers Market on Saturday mornings. Walking distance from ASU's downtown campus and the Roosevelt Row Art District, the market gives a great flavor of Arizona with local farmers and artisans. Try sourdough croissants from Proof Bread, jalapeno cilantro hummus from Dr. Hummus, and beer brats from The Proper Beast. Again, this is Kimberly Page with Jones, Skelton and Hockley. For more information about late case fair limits proceedings in Arizona, or if you'd like to join me at the downtown Phoenix Farmers Market next time you visit Arizona, you can reach me at kpage@jshfirm.com.